Hello and welcome to Exploited, Crimes and Technology. My name is Opal Singleton and we come to you every Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock right here on AM 590, The Answer. We've been doing this radio show over 7 years. That is hard to believe. Week in, week out, working with so many of you, and it's just really a delight when I get out in the public, get out of the silly bunker, and actually go out and meet some of you, make some presentations, meet at dinner, whatever, and find people who listen to this radio show. And I want you to know how much I appreciate you. Sometimes I meet people out at restaurants, even the dry cleaner. I couldn't believe it. And recently, some of the law enforcement and fire people that were protecting our community right here in Riverside. I continue to pray for all those people that lost their home right here in Riverside in that fire. We drove around the area, and it just makes your heart bleed to see the loss that has taken place in our community. Several people lost just beautiful, beautiful homes, and all their lives were tied up in their homes and all their possessions. And I want to give a shout out to those firemen that went out there, and the helicopter pilots and the plane pilots that were dropping all that stuff around the neighborhood. There were so many homes, several homes, that the fire burned right up to their patio, burned some of their patio furniture, and yet they saved that home. And that was the work of a lot of people who put in many, many hours in just very difficult positions and went out and did what they could do to save our community. And in the course of doing that, I talked to some of them, and some of you are radio listeners and know my show, and I appreciate you. I work and have worked for the last 14 years and served. Right now, I'm the advisor for the Training and Outreach Coordinator for Riverside County Anti-Human Trafficking Task Force. This particular radio show is brought to you by an organization. I happen to be the president of it, but it's called Million Kids, MILLION, millionkids.org. And we have served with law enforcement throughout all of Southern California. By trade, I am a law enforcement trainer for human trafficking and social media exploitation. So that's given me the opportunity to meet many fire department personnel and police. I trained all the city of Santa Monica not too long ago, and also all the city of Pasadena. And how much fun that was to be able to train your EMTs and your emergency personnel and fire departments and code enforcement. Yes, they do. You may not like them, but I love them. They keep their eyes out for the people that are the most vulnerable. And so we are very, very blessed in the Inland Empire to have solid law enforcement in our police and our sheriff and our fire department and our district attorneys. We are just spoiled rotten, quite frankly. I do work out of the area a lot, and not every one of the law enforcement agencies throughout California are as blessed as we are. And let's just leave it at that without getting too political here. But our people literally put their lives on the line to save you and your homes. But they also are very serious about enforcing laws, doing the investigation work that it needs to take place, and going out and doing the hard prosecution of these people. The laws in California are just not friendly to people who want to combat crime, and there's a purpose. They intentionally want to make it so. I talked about that a little bit last week. It all started with Proposition 47 and then Proposition 57, and these were laws that were written back in 2014, 2016, when our current vice president was our attorney general, And they changed how crimes are prosecuted, including the crime of human trafficking. And basically, what the intent was to let nonviolent criminals out early. And everybody voted for that, thinking, well, that sounds good. Why are we paying for nonviolent people to be in prison? Because now they want some of our money to build more prisons. What nobody told you when they wrote that law, and I'm going to tell you that the people who wrote the law knew what they were doing. What they did not tell you is that there are only a few violent and serious crimes in the state of California. Up until recently, selling a child for sex was only a misdemeanor. Okay, now there is a big war going on Capitol Hill right now in SB 1414, and our organizations across California are doing their very best to convince those legislators up in Sacramento that it should be a felony to sell a child for sex. It is not right now. And what they finally agreed to is under SB 1414, and the fight is not over. If you want to get in the fray with me, come on in. We need your help on that kind of thing. But where it is right now is they've agreed that if you're selling someone that is 15 or under for sex, that should be a felony. But they are not agreeing to sell that if you're selling someone 16 and 17 years old, they want to keep that as a misdemeanor. When Proposition 47, got my numbers all mixed up here. When Proposition 47 was passed, the question just before the vote was, would it include child sex offenders? And, it's just really, really hard to believe that in the state of California, child sex crimes were not considered violent or serious. If you cannot protect the children of your society, what kind of society are you going to have? Well, finally, they got it through that child sex crimes should be considered serious, but not be considered violent. And it just boggles my mind that we are dealing with this. Well, I share all this with you because this week, July 30th, and we are recording this show prior to Saturday, so it is July 30th. This is World Day Against Trafficking in Persons. And of course, being in the anti-trafficking business, we're aware of that. I wanted to make you aware that there is such a day. Now, I can truly understand you. I have all my friends and they go, that's what I need is one more thing to worry about. Looks like the whole world's gone to hell in a handbasket, and we are going to worry about World Day Against Trafficking in Persons. Well, I want to share with you a little bit about how it happens and how it happens in your community. It happens a lot different if you're in Bangladesh or Cambodia or Bolivia or someplace like that. Those of you that saw the movie Sounds of Freedom, that was an excellent movie. And it's worth seeing. However, that is not how trafficking takes place most of the time. I won't say it can't ever, but most of the time, that is not how it takes place right here in Southern California. So I want to share with you a little bit more about how it happens so that you know how to work with an organization like Million Kids to help combat it and make sure that it's not happening in your life. The most likely victims of trafficking here in the U.S. are foster kids. 60% of minors that are being sold into sex trafficking in California come from the social services system, from the foster care system. And that is a serious issue because they've already struggled their whole life, and now they are the most likely to be seduced into a life of sex trafficking. So foster kids, homeless kids, hello, I would contend to you unaccompanied minor kids, although we don't have those immediate statistics on that. We know that it is happening. We've had cases of unaccompanied minors being sold into prostitution right here in the Inland Empire. And it's all about using those kids for paid sex, where that money was being laundered back to Mexico. And that happened right here in Riverside, San Bernardino, Palm Springs, started in Ventura. It's called the Paredes family case. And that money is being laundered through commercial businesses right here in the Inland Empire. So yes, it's that kind of thing that can happen. So I want to take the next couple of segments and talk about what to look for and how this works. How does somebody in the most farthest idea from your mind, how does an innocent person find themselves a victim of trafficking? My name is Opal Singleton. It is coming up against break time, so stay with us. We'll be right back. Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited Crimes and Technology. Hey, let me tell you about my favorite restaurant in Riverside, Monarch Asian Bistro. The atmosphere and decor are simply stunning. The service is great, too. It's a wonderful environment for a romantic dinner or a family get-together. It's not just another Chinese restaurant. The Monarch Asian Bistro is upscale, and it serves Thai food, as well as unique Asian-inspired dishes that are just fabulous. My favorite is the pad see ew beef. My husband likes the orange chicken, and the Chinese chicken salad is always great. Our friends sometimes order the Emperor's Choice or Monarch steak. It is my favorite go-to place. Go ahead and give it a try. It's Monarch Bistro in Riverside, Canyon Crest Town Center next to Ralph's. They are open for lunch and dinner every day but Tuesday. Go ahead, give it a try. You're going to love it.
Real estate sales in the Inland Empire are really hot. Sean and Colleen at Caldwell Banker Armstrong Properties in Riverside are proud to sponsor this show. They are the best in the Inland Empire. They're fair, honest, creative, and they care about you and your situation. If you're in the market to buy or sell a home, call Sean and Colleen at 951-529-4066.
Hello, this is Opal Singleton of MillionKids.org. I believe the four most powerful words on earth are I believe in you. So we created a challenge coin that says, I believe in you on one side and stand tall, you are loved on the other side. This one-of-a-kind challenge coin is a perfect gift for birthdays, anniversaries, graduation, Christmas presents, or just an anytime gift for someone you love. What a powerful message for a parent or a grandparent to give to a young person. This 2-inch coin is made of polished gold. It's striking to look at, and it is priceless to hold. It is packaged in a beautiful black velvet gift box. What a great way to leave a legacy of love that will last forever. To purchase this coin, go to millionkids.org/gallery. Each coin is $25. Go to millionkids.org/gallery to purchase and give a legacy of love.
AM 590, The Answer.
Hello and welcome back to Exploited Crimes and Technology. This is Opal Singleton, and we are talking about the fact that this week we celebrated World Day Against Trafficking in Persons. As if you don't have enough things on your plate, now we're going to come in and talk about that. Well, I want to just talk about what it looks like in your real life. Now, you and I both know trafficking takes place all over the world, and we assume it's taking place in third world countries. When I first got involved in this way back in 2008, so long time ago, I spent quite a bit of time in Cambodia. In fact, people ask me, why? Why did you get involved in this? And I really can't tell you, except that I've always been something of an international mindset. And I worked in international marketing for many years. I had over 3 million frequent flyer miles when I retired. I've been to many different countries around the world, met many different kinds of people and different cultures, different beliefs, and different economic kind of status. And it became very apparent that one of the driving forces of this kind of exploitation is poverty. And that is still true, whether it's the U.S. or whether it's any other place. For instance, over in Cambodia, because of the Khmer Rouge, There was literally most of your men were murdered there. And so it is not uncommon for a man to have 2 and 3 wives, and the third wife gets the least of the attention and the least of the resources. And any children they raise are also going to see that. And so it's not uncommon for young kids to get sold or tricked into trafficking, even as young as 4, 5, 6 years old in a country like Kenya, in a country like Cambodia, or even in Vietnam. So what we see in those cases is they were particularly vulnerable because of poverty. And there is some truth to that right here in the U.S. because, as I said, the number one person that can be easily recruited is a foster child here in the U.S. They don't have a lot of resources. They don't have a lot of foundation unless a family takes them in and fills all that in. They have this constant need to belong, to be included, to be accepted, to be like everybody else. And, with talent they are, with as human beings, many of these foster kids are more talented than a lot of kids who are not foster kids. But they don't have the resources to take advantage or get included. So if you want to combat trafficking, you don't have to, everybody goes, I want to be open, I want to go out and speak. Well, okay, some of you can do that if you train yourself. It takes a lot of time and energy to do that. But you don't have to be a person like myself to combat trafficking, because simply decide that you're going to help your nearest foster kids. And that doesn't mean you have to be a foster parent. Now, I know people who are, and they're amazing people. One of the gals that works with me and kids literally adopted and raised 12 foster kids. And they're all adults now, and now she plays grandma to all their kids. And she had a couple of kids of their own. And she is absolutely amazing, as her foster kids are. We're right in the middle. In fact, some of you, if you want to fund a project that we're doing, you can fund this one because I think it's really, really important. 3 of her foster kids, who are 20, 21, and 22, have turned out to be able to make films online. And this whole generation's getting good at it anyway, because they make all these videos they put on TikTok and Instagram and like that. Well, we have a big thing that's going on right now where kids get connected online with people from overseas, and they are tricked into sending a naked photo. And the minute, and especially guys, by the way, you hear me talk about it regularly, but the minute that photo goes out, then they begin to get blackmailed. Well, I say we got to get a message out to all the kids in the world. Don't send those naked photos. If you don't get a naked photo online, it is going to be harder for somebody to blackmail you, quite simply. Now, with artificial intelligence, you're going to have deep fakes, and any one of us could have our image altered into some sort of sexual image. But we need to take a step back, because so many kids now think nothing of sending a nude out there. Well, this lady's kids, who are now 20, 21, and 22, they were all raised foster kids. They understand the vulnerabilities of when you put a kid who wants to be loved, who wants to be included, who wants to reach out, who wants to meet somebody who thinks they're special, and you put that child on the World Wide Web. Guess what? They're going to get a lot of offers, and they're going to get a lot of people who think they're cute and they think they're talented, and they will be lured into sending a photo if we don't talk to them first. And so one of the things that we have done with our foster kids is they've made videos. Yes, we paid them for them, and we paid them out of funds where people donate, and they are helping us get these videos like on TikTok, Instagram, all over. So kids understand you may have sent nudes in the past, but that day is over, because it's got to change today. That is the riskiest thing any human being can ever do, is post an erotic photo online that can be used against them. And we need to get that message out. But at the same time, what I have found is that foster kids especially don't want to be violated. But they need our help in understanding why and how seduction works, how the grooming process works. What normally happens, and the problem I had with Sound of Music, I like that movie too. I'm talking about Sound of Freedom. The problem I have with Sound of Freedom is that this whole group of macho people went in and kidnapped them back. Well, that isn't how it works in the U.S. It's much more subtle, and it's not nearly as macho, but it's much more effective. Find foster kids in your church, foster kids in your community, in your family, in your groups of friends, and support the parents of those foster kids and ask them, I want to make a difference for your kids. What can I do? Get their permission. But for instance, most of these kids never get to play soccer. They never get to be part of a dance team. They never get to go out and do what regular kids do because they don't have the finances. They don't have the stability. They don't have the opportunity. Let's get them the opportunity. But more important, the thing that you can do is if they're around your church, do it appropriately. Don't get too close to them and that kind of thing. That's not just what we're looking for. But let them know that you believe in them. And what is their dreams? What are they trying to accomplish? I sometimes tell the story. Maybe you heard it once before, but I will never forget this case. Young man I met at a group home in Rubidoux, and a very smart young man. He was about 16 or 17. And he is over there, and he obviously doesn't fit in with the group. There were a lot of kids that maybe were into all kinds of acid rock and all kinds of things. But this kid is one smart kid. And I was talking about one way you get lured in is you spend a lot of time in video game chat rooms. And video games can be very addictive. And so what you need to do is set goals for your life and find ways to achieve those goals so that you're not a slave to the internet where you're constantly out there where people can seduce you. I went over and talked to the young man when I was through, and he told me, he said, when I had a home, I was really addicted to video gaming. And he said, I really recognized what you were saying. And I said, well, why are you here at this group home? You seem like, just a brilliant young man. And he said, well, I want to be a weatherman, a geography type person and weather and like that. And I'm going, well, where are you going from there? And he said, I'm studying it. I study it every chance I get. But right now, I'm from Orange County, and they don't have a placement for me, so they just dropped me off out here till they can find a place to house me over there. Well, I got to talking to the young man, and I wanted him to know I was very impressed with him. He's smart as a whip. He's goal-oriented. I actually went out and bought him a book about hurricanes so that he could get involved and prepare to be a weatherman. And that's what he wanted. And I say to myself, there is a kid that's just looking for someone that can come alongside of him and be a pillar to him and support him and believe in him. And this is the reason why Million Kids sells these coins. I believe in you. I believe that is the key to stopping trafficking. The 4 most powerful words on earth, and the ones every one of us want to hear, is I believe in you. This is Opal Singleton. We're coming up against that break, so stay with us. We'll be right back.
Societal Shift, A World Without Borders and a Home Without Walls. This is the most important book you will read this year, especially if you have children or grandchildren. We are living at the most important time in all of history. In 2020, the entire world will be connected by internet, more than 6 billion people coming together. Technology will provide many great advantages for our kids, but a world without borders for our kids is also a world without borders for pimps, predators, pedophiles, cartels, and organized crime. It is a home without walls because 87% of the kids sleep with their phone. It is the greatest societal experiment of all time. Our kids are technology geniuses, and their parents are technophobic.
Some are techno-impotent. New apps come with no warnings on how a predator will use them against our kids. Advancing technologies like encrypted messaging, vaporware, artificial intelligence, cryptocurrency, and the dark net will challenge law enforcement, teachers, and parents to keep kids safe. Recent research states that 9,000 kids a day are being blackmailed with a naked photo, and 58% will meet their predator. It is indeed a societal shift, and one in which most parents are unprepared. If you are a parent or grandparent, teacher, counselor, or social worker, please take time to read Societal Shift. Only $18.99 plus $6 shipping. Order today at millionkids.org. That's millionkids, millionkids.org. It'll be the greatest gift you can give your family and yourself. Order Societal Shift today. Million Kids takes checks and credit cards. Opal Singleton, the author, will personally sign the book and send it to you. Again, go to millionkids.org and order Societal Shift today. Join Million Kids. Keep our kids safe from predators.
Hello and welcome back to Exploited Crimes and Technology. This is Opal Singleton, and we are talking about what human trafficking looks like in Southern California. Well, I was laughing there at the break because I couldn't come up with Proposition 47 or the word meteorologist, and my producer was telling me that. We were both joking that we both have taken Premarin. No, that's the hormone. It's Prevagen, but then we can't remember to go down and renew it and buy it again. So you'll just have to bear with me if we don't come up with this stuff, okay? So we're talking about what trafficking looks like right here in the U.S., right here in Riverside, San Bernardino, the Inland Empire. And is it real? And I say that because when you look at things like World Day Against Trafficking in Persons, you say to yourself, how does this work? Is it really happening? And what is it all about? And how serious is it? And is it somebody and something I should really worry about? Because I have a lot of things I need to prioritize these days. And believe me, with things like that Olympic Lord's Supper kind of thing going on, with all the politics that are going on out there, where you got the legislation up in California trying to make sure that they can talk to your kids about getting a sex change when they can't talk to them about the other kinds of things we think we're sending them to school to. There is a lot of things to prioritize in your mind to worry about. So probably human trafficking isn't the top of the list. Well, it is very serious. I will tell you that. That's the reason why we run Million Kids and do what we do. According to the United Nations, if you believe the United Nations, there are nearly 50 million people around the world that are in what they call modern-day slavery. That is a huge number. 12 million of those are children, and 54% of those, and I'm surprised it's only 54%, by the way, that are trapped in modern-day slavery are women and girls. So what does that tell you? That males also get trafficked, and there's just very little discussion about how that works. Now, there's a lot of ways that people get trafficked around the world, and it's really being accelerated because of technology. But I want to today just kind of share with you what happens right here in Southern California, because most of us can't control what's happening in Ethiopia or Battambang, Cambodia, but we can control what is going on right here in our community. And so normally what happens in trafficking, in U.S. trafficking, it is mostly females and oftentimes very young girls. And they will fall in love either online or at the mall or somebody at school, or they will meet another girl. About more than half of the girls that get seduced into trafficking are seduced in by another girl because they trust that girl. And the girl will start to buy them bling. So that's what you look for if your child is changing. All of a sudden, they're hanging out with different people. They're doing a lot of texting, and they're looking for a lot of privacy. You walk down the hall, and they shut their room. They put away their devices so you can't see what's going on there. And you need to be able to have have these conversations beforehand, long before it gets there. It isn't like you think in the movies where they come along and grab you. Now, it can happen, but more likely than not, it will be someone who wants to take advantage of their naivety, if you will, somebody who wants to fix their problems. I'm sorry your dad wasn't there for you last night. He doesn't know what he's missing. I get that your mom's boyfriend is a creep. And they will look for ways that your child is insecure, that they can fill it. And this can happen to guys too, by the way. And a lot of this takes place, for instance, on dating sites and hookup sites and even video game chat rooms. Or sometimes they will lure them into sending a nude photo and then begin to blackmail them by having them go out and commit sex acts. So that is how it takes place. It's called force, fraud, fear, or coercion. So a child will get out there. Now, right now, our laws say that if anybody is sold for sex in the state of California, it is a misdemeanor if they're a minor. And as I was saying, they're trying to make that a felony. Right now, they've approved for it. It hasn't been passed. It's going through the various committees. And it's a nightmare because they're saying, well, if they're 16 or under, then they will be considered a felony. But it's okay to sell a 16 or 17-year-old for sex. I'm going to tell you right now, that just makes the hair stand up on the back of my head when I think about that. How smart are 16 and 17-year-old kids to make a decision like that without understanding the lifetime impact they're going to have on their lives? So these kids get lured in, and then they are almost always taken out of the area very quickly. Poof, they're gone. And this is why Million Kids runs Million Kids Missing Kids, because suddenly I'll have a parent who goes, oh my gosh, my kid's missing. I don't know where they're at. They go to the police department, and we have some fine police departments who care and will do what they can to find them. But there are something like 600 runaway kids in an area the size of Riverside at any given time. And they have a lot of other crimes they're dealing with. So what will happen is they have them contact us. We do the flyers that go out on the missing kids. Now, if you want to receive those flyers and help us locate missing kids, you can do that by joining millionkids.org. You can also help us by sharing those flyers that we send out. And you just sign up for the newsletter, and we send them out. Share them throughout your church, throughout your sorority, with all your friends to keep an eye on them. And we have been involved in alerting and bringing back many, many kids, or at least finding where the kids are so that they can have intervention and that kind of thing. Anytime a kid disappears, they're very likely to end up in human trafficking. The numbers that are official is 1 out of 6 kids who run away will be a victim of sex trafficking within the first 48 hours. That is why it is so important that we all band together and see if we can't locate a kid and get them out before they disappear. Because once they're in there, they start moving, and I'm talking about pimps. I'm talking about criminals of all type. I'm talking about gangs and cartels. They will move the kids out of the area and sell them online. And once a child has got started into that life, their lives will be forever different. And so it's worth fighting for with the kids. The other thing that I know about kids is once kids understand how this works, they want to be leaders. And it is up to us as parents and leaders to talk to them early and let them know how this works so that they can look out for each other, especially if you have a kid that it comes from a broken home or a single parent household or a foster family where they don't have the same structure as the rest of the people. That makes it possible for our kids to be able to relate to their kids and let them know that there are places they can go where they can be safe. They don't have to be out on the street. And that if this is starting to happen to them, ask for help and do it very, very quickly. If you're starting to be a victim of human trafficking, your life is going to change dramatically and change very, very quickly. The sooner you can help a person get out of that life, the safer they're going to be, and the more likely they're going to be able to recover, to move on, to have a life that is fulfilling and something where they can accomplish and be proud of their lives. So what basically happens is called force, fraud, fear, or coercion. A young person may decide that they want to be involved in amateur pornography online, or maybe they want to try making a little extra money for commercial sex. And they get out there, and they may even be trying to do this as an independent operator, but pretty soon somebody's taking part of their money, or they're asking them to make a certain amount of money, or something very bad. It becomes violent and aggressive, and they get moved around. Those take it from somebody making a decision to get involved in this life and making that so that it becomes the victim of sex trafficking. Force, fraud, fear, or coercion. They make threats. They will hold you against your will. They will take photographs and advertise you, and they will degrade you to let you think that you can't get out of the life. Folks, it is never too late, and you need to teach your children that. They may make mistakes, but they can change their mind and turn that around. There's a difference between guilt and shame, and guilt means you made a mistake, but it is not too late to change it. It is break time, folks. Be right back. Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited, Crimes and Technology. I want to tell you about a book I wrote called Seduced, The Grooming of America's Teenagers. It's all about how predators access, groom, recruit, and exploit our young people using social media, online gaming, video chat rooms. Technology is changing at the speed of light, and we have to understand how to keep our kids safe from predators. So you can get this book by going to www.millionkids.org. It's $16. I'll sign it, and I'll ship it to you personally. We hope that you will order this book, educate yourself about how to keep our kids safe in this day of changing technology. Join us each Saturday for our radio show at Exploited, Crimes and Technology at 3 o'clock on AM 590. The Answer.
Custom Service Systems, a proud supporter of Million Kids, is a family-owned and operated commercial cleaning company servicing the Inland Empire and surrounding areas since 1974. CSS takes pride in their ability to maintain the business facilities they serve and their long-lasting relationships with their valued clients. CSS provides a variety of cleaning systems customized to client needs, including deep cleaning and disinfectant to be COVID-19 compliant. From basic office cleaning to windows and floors, CSS will clean up your mess so you don't have to stress. Custom Service Systems cares about families and communities and wants to give back. Custom Service Systems are proud supporters of Million Kids to keep kids safe from predators. If you need the best cleaning services for your business or corporation, contact Custom Service Systems at cssclean.com. Again, cssclean.com, or call 951-781-9345. That's 951-781-9345. You will know you found the best. Custom Service Systems.
Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited Crimes and Technology. Let me tell you about my friend Doris Anderson at Remax Realty in Upland. She is amazing. She's kind, she's patient, but she listens. And she's informed, and she will help you with your real estate transaction in a way that works for you. Doris, in full disclosure, often supports the work of Million Kids because she cares about young people. But she knows how to analyze a market, how to market a property, and how to find just the right transaction for both buyers and sellers. If you're looking to buy or sell real estate or invest in income property, contact Doris Anderson at Remax Realty 951-733-8899. That's 951-733-8899. 951-733-8899.
AM 590. The Answer.
Hello and welcome back to Exploited Crimes and Technology. My name is Opal Singleton, and we are talking about the fact that this is Human Trafficking Awareness Week and for the entire world. But I want to bring it down to your own level right here in Southern California. It is really easy to think this doesn't happen. This happens a lot more than anyone knows, and it's going to become more and more likely that it is taking place right here. And the reason for that is because of the changes of law and also because of changes in technology. And this is the reason why we still do what we do. You know, people say to me, Opal, why don't you give this up, whatever. And I'm like, no, this is very, very important. It's important that we all understand where this is headed. I don't believe that there is a human trafficking victim everywhere we look. I don't. In fact, that is the hard part of this crime. It's a vile crime. I take leads. People call in situations to me for both online sexual exploitation where their kid, especially a guy, is sent a nude photo and they're being blackmailed. And we get them into law enforcement where they can be investigated. The same kind of thing with human trafficking. But the thing that reason I do what we do with me and kids is because I have tens of thousands of hours of research on this. Of course, I do train first responders and like that. But it is important to understand that to recognize what you see when you see it. I don't believe it's everywhere. I don't. But I also know that victims of human trafficking are some of the most exploited people on earth. And it is taking place right in front of us. And we need to be able to recognize it and know how to deal with it. We all drive down the streets and see a massage parlor and you go, well, that one looks a little odd. It's very closed off. It doesn't have a regular kind of thing of services. It operates mostly at night. The doors are on the backside, mostly male kind of clientele. We all drive by that without thinking or realizing what is going on. In those cases, report them. Don't get involved, but report them. Report them in a non-emergency number to the police department, or report them to code enforcement if you see that. The same kind of thing, you might have a situation where you have a house down the street that suddenly doesn't look like a normal house. It doesn't have normal family lives, and the windows are closed over, or maybe they're screwed shut, and there's vans that come late night and early morning, but not normal traffic. And you see that and you think something odd's going on down there. Well, don't go down and knock on the door and get yourself involved. But what you can do is report that to either code enforcement or your non-emergency number for your police department and just say, I don't know, it just seems odd to me. It might be an illegal pot grow. And yes, human trafficking is connected to illegal pot grows almost every time. A lot of times they're bringing people in from China and Taiwan and putting them in residential houses that are closed off and doing illegal pot grows. So it's important to report that. Those people have no understanding that they were going to be brought in from China and put into forced sex or forced labor. If they knew that, they probably wouldn't come, but they are being trafficked. But they're not going to ask for help because they're afraid. So keep your eyes up. There are things you can do. Watch for your own kids, watch for kids that are particularly vulnerable, watch your community, and then, be careful on how you get involved. It is not everywhere, but when it is there, it is usually absolutely horrendous. So if you see something suspicious, don't be afraid to report it. It's only a report, okay? But we need to be smart about how we handle it. But most important, start at home. Teach your children about trafficking here in the U.S. because it does happen. And teach your kids how to report it and how not to become a victim. Never, ever send a nude photo online. Start right there with that. As we get our videos out, get your kids to share those videos with other people. and talk to your kids so that they can be leaders in combating this. I want to take a minute and thank each and every person that has been involved with Million Kids over the years. You know, we've been around 15 years, and we are a national company. I've traveled all over the U.S. I've even traveled to Butler, Pennsylvania, and spoke there. Believe it or not, I just talked to my friends that were in Butler, and they were in the 6th row behind President Trump that day. And they have been just passionate supporters of Million Kids and like that. So we do travel all over the U.S., but we do a lot of work right here supporting law enforcement and families right here in the Inland Empire. If you want to support our work, we would truly appreciate it. There are many things that we do. The Million Kids Missing Kids is one of the most important. Creating videos so kids understand not to send nudes out is a very important piece of our work and a very expensive piece of our work. And we can't do it without the proper funding. And that's where you all come in. We have many people that listen to this show and will donate. You can do that, by the way, by going to millionkids.org, million, M-I-L-L-I-O-N, millionkids.org. Or you can pick up our P.O. Box. It's there at the millionkids.org website, P.O. Box 7295, Riverside, California, 92513. We appreciate your prayers. There is a lot going on in our world. We look around and see all the craziness that's going on, all the activity that's going on with artificial intelligence, and how it varies your perception of truth. And that's important to us at Million Kids, because if we can't teach our kids to be able to discern truth, they will be easily deceived. They'll be easily seduced into something that they maybe never would be. So a lot of our work is researching the impact of technology. So many of our kids are on these video games where they're talking in chat rooms where there's millions of people, and they all have money transfer on them. Most of your dating sites have geolocation software on them. So a lot of our work is preparing our kids to live in a world without borders, in a way where they won't get seduced, where they won't get violated, and where they understand where the danger is in living in this world, a world of fast-changing technology. When you think of the way technology has changed over the last 2 to 3 years, just imagine where it's going to be in another 2 to 3 years. Especially, I worry about artificial intelligence because it can pick up a small amount of information that is not accurate and repeat it over and over and over till everyone believes it. You know, part of keeping our kids safe from predators is teaching them to recognize the truth when they see it and a deception when they see it, to recognize a legitimate situation and recognize a predator, or recognize when they are being lured into something that can be very, very harmful to them. This will be the first generation in all of history that will live in a globally connected world where that connection knows everything about them and also about you, Mom and Dad. And so it is, I believe, the greatest challenge of all our lives is to prepare this young generation of kids to live in that world and live safely. I also believe how we teach this generation to live in that globally connected world will set the stage for all future generations. Imagine what the world is going to be like for your 2-year-old grandchild, your 4-year-old grandchild, and where this is going to go. We have to start today. I often talk about getting back to basics. You know, understanding your values, sit down as a family, write down your values, identify what you believe in. You look at the thing with the Olympics. If that doesn't offend you, then something you need to have a different conversation. And if that doesn't offend your children, We need that conversation, because from here on out, the entire world will be feeding all kinds of nonsense to our children. We better start right now in bulletproofing our kids and helping them know their values, who they are, what they stand for, and helping them to be strong in their own worth so they're not easily seduced. That is how you combat trafficking right here in the Inland Empire. Thank you to each and every one of you that have supported Me and Kids at meandkids.org. We wouldn't be here without you. We so much appreciate you coming alongside of us for especially the last 7 years that we've been on the air. Thank you. If you see me out in public, reach out. I'm always happy to see you, and it just tickles my soul to see so many good people out there that are willing to fight the good fight. Put your arms around your family. Let them know you love them. See you next Saturday at 3 o'clock right here on AM 590.
This message is all about Million Kids, the organization that helps locate missing kids throughout Southern California and educates to keep kids safe from predators. Million Kids educates school administrators, teachers, parents, and teenagers how predators identify a potential victim and the methods they use to recruit innocent kids. BMW of Riverside is a proud supporter of Million Kids. Visit BMW of Riverside at the Adams Street exit off the 91 freeway or click bmwofriverside.com.